All right, welcome back to ABA exam review and the continuation of our RBT practice exam series. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Please subscribe and share. Check out btexamreview.com for all of our study materials, including our combo pack. When you pass your exam, let us know so we can include you in the Sunday shout out. Work hard, study hard. Let's get going. Sophia is working with a client who is not motivated by social praise. To increase the effectiveness of praise, Sophia begins pairing it with a preferred treat. Each time the client completes a task, Sophia immediately says, "Great job," while giving the client a small piece of their favorite snack. Over time, Sophia plans to gradually reduce the use of the treat while continuing to provide social praise. What is Sophia trying to accomplish? So we're looking at Sophia's behavior, and she has a goal in mind. What do we know about what Sophia is doing currently? We know she has a client who is not motivated by social praise. She wants to increase praise as a motivator, so she pairs it with a treat. That's how we create conditioned reinforcers through pairing. So she is pairing the praise with the treat, and then she's gradually reducing the use of the treat. So she wants to increase the use of praise as reinforcement while reducing the use of treats as a reinforcer. So we predicted our answer. What is Sophia trying to accomplish? A, Sophia is attempting to make the treat lose its effectiveness. We don't try to make the stimulus lose effectiveness through pairing. We're just trying to give effectiveness to a new stimulus. B, she is trying to alternate between the praise and the treat. Since she is reducing the use of the treat, she no longer wants to use the treat as much. She would prefer to use social praise more often. C, she is trying to establish praise as a reinforcer. Yes, her whole goal is to establish praise as a reinforcer through pairing and then to fade out the use of the treat. D, she is trying to remove social praise as a reinforcer. No, she is actually fading out the use of the treat. What is she accomplishing or trying to accomplish? She's trying to pair praise with the treat to make praise a reinforcer. A behavior analyst is teaching a child to say please when requesting a toy. After consistent reinforcement for saying please, the child begins using other polite phrases such as "may I have it" and "thank you," even though these responses were not directly taught. What concept does this exemplify? So we have a concept question. We're trying to identify the concept. What do we know so far? We know the behavior analyst taught the child a response to say please when requesting a toy. After reinforcement for the response, the child begins using other phrases like "may I have it" and "thank you," even though they were not directly taught. What do we call it when new responses start to emerge in the presence of a stimulus? Because the child is requesting a toy and they were saying please. Now they're saying "may I have it" and "thank you." So we have a single stimulus evoking different responses. A, response generalization. Yes, with response generalization, we have a stimulus that is evoking multiple responses. And more accurately, or more technically, it's when new responses emerge from a taught response or a learned response, which is what is happening here. With stimulus generalization, we have a single response that is evoked in the presence of multiple stimuli. Here we're looking at multiple responses. C, behavior contrast. Behavior contrast has to do with different schedules of reinforcement in different environments and behavior going in different directions. Not what we're discussing here. And then shaping. We aren't shaping this child's behavior. The analyst isn't shaping the child's behavior. They're simply teaching this response, and new responses are emerging. We would consider this response generalization. A child frequently hits other children during recess. To reduce this behavior, the teacher removes the child from the playground and has them sit alone and watch the other kids play. As a result, the child's hitting behavior decreases over time. What procedure is the teacher using? All right, we're looking at the teacher and the intervention they're using. Let's first ask, what is the teacher targeting? The teacher is targeting the hitting of other children during recess, and they want to reduce that behavior. Do we know what happened to the child's behavior? We do. We know the behavior did decrease over time. So whatever the teacher did was either punishing or she was using extinction. So what did she do? Well, to reduce the behavior, she removed the child from the playground and has them sit alone and watch the other kids play when the child would hit other children. So the behavior was hit other children, the consequence, removal from the playground. What procedure is she using? A, negative reinforcement. Well, we know the behavior decreased, so it can't be reinforcement. We know she used punishment, so it's got to be a punishment procedure. So if we look at B, negative punishment, this is what we are looking for. The child was removed from the playground. They were essentially put in time out. It wasn't positive punishment. The teacher didn't add anything to the environment. She just took the child away from the other children. And the response cost. A response cost is negative punishment, but it's when we remove a reinforcer, not necessarily the child themselves. When the child is removed, it's typically called timeout. The procedure the teacher is using looks like negative punishment. John wants to lose weight, so he hires a personal trainer. The personal trainer is concerned with John's calorie intake. John's personal trainer tells John that he should be eating 4 small meals a day, 6 hours apart. What dimension should be used to track how often John is eating? All right, let's not think about this or overthink this, I should say. It's very straightforward. When we talk about dimensions on tracking something, we're just talking about measurement, right? What dimension of measurement do we want to use here? What are we trying to accomplish? We know John is trying to lose weight. The trainer wants John to eat less calories. So he's telling John you should eat 4 small meals 6 hours apart. Now, immediately, we need to look at this idea that each meal needs to be 6 hours apart. How are we going to track that? A, frequency. Well, frequency is going to track maybe how many meals he's eaten, but not necessarily this 6 hours apart. What about duration? Duration might track how long each meal takes, but we're concerned with this 6 hours apart idea. What about latency? Latency is the time in between the SD and the first response. So that would be the SD in the first meal. We need the time in between each meal. So what we're going to track here is inter-response time. We're going to track is 6 hours passing in between each meal that John is eating. A consultant who specializes in business behavior management is hired by a retail store to increase productivity from the staff. The first thing the analyst wants to do is familiarize herself with the store itself. What type of assessment should she use specifically? On assessment questions, you need to ask yourself, what are you trying to assess? What do I mean by that? Well, if we were using a preference assessment, we would be assessing what somebody likes. A reinforcer assessment, we'd be assessing whether or not something is reinforcing. A behavior assessment, we're assessing behavior. In this case, what are we assessing? Well, the consultant is assessing the store itself because she is hired to increase productivity at a retail store. So she's not assessing preference or reinforcement or behavior. She's looking at the environment. What do we call it when we assess the environment? A functional analysis. Well, functional analysis looks at the function of a specific behavior, which is not what the consultant is doing. An indirect survey assessment. This is the direct assessment of the environment. She's not taking a survey. This would be considered an ecological assessment. We are assessing the environment itself. We've already covered why it's not a reinforcer assessment. So the type of assessment we use when we are looking at the environment rather than people or behavior is the ecological assessment. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. When you pass your exam, let us know so we can include you in the Sunday shout out. Check out btexamreview.com for all of our study materials. Work hard, study hard. See you soon.